back to another Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, Steam Spy has been revived through the magic of artificial intelligence. Unfortunately, it's a bit shite at the maths, and the Nintendo Switch just got interesting. Yep, that unpatchable exploit, it's in the wild. Turns out it's also legit.
Valve absorbs another development studio, the Happy Vacation Campo Santo, and I wrote a spell for you, and it's dicks.
Magic dicks.
Aussie puts Valve down, or at least any chance of an appeal, and Super Text Card has an update. No, not that one.
The other one? Is it?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Vince Stone here at LGC Actual, switching the bits, doing the Nightmare Fuel for the, what are we at, 297th time. It's kind of sad when you think about it, but we have a good time doing it, so we hope you enjoy it. Joined every week by Mr. I just checked and see if I could get Gigabit, but I kind of can, but can't. Svang, you know him, in Kanakistan.
So many things want my money.
Speaking of wanting money, one Pedro Mateus.
I always want more money.
From Great Britannia.
Want my money.
Hello.
And joining us live in Shot Realm Dynamic, that's right, the people that help us form. Go Game Voltron. Before we get started, we'd like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. Jordan, anything exciting happen?
So I'm speaking of money. So I have an interesting scenario. To play Rise of the Tomb Raider this week, I upgraded to the latest NVIDIA drivers, and while I'm installing it, they're like, "Hey, bro, that 460 you got? Yeah, we don't support that anymore. You got to install the legacy drivers." And so I kept the 396 42 drivers for Tomb Raider, rolled it back here, but now I'm thinking I got that other 4K monitor there. I got like a really, really good tax return. How much does a 1080 Ti cost?
A lot.
Basically all of it.
Yeah, basically my tax return will pay for the 1080 Ti.
Pedro, you didn't spend your tax return.
No, I didn't spend my tax return, but then again,
all you did was suck with these dicks. So
yeah, basically my tax return this year is going to be very, very moderate. But I did get paid, so I bought Western Digital Black NVMe SSD 256 gig, which is going into this box tomorrow. Well, in a few hours.
Yeah, let's be real about that. That was the first thing I asked Pedro. I was like, "Did you actually try to YOLO this before the show?"
Remember, update your BIOS before installing NVMe drives, kids.
Shut up. No. Hey man, I had to jump. Turns out you got to jump through a gang of othering hoops to watch DBZ Super, which I've been meaning to catch up on for what, like 4 years now.
I mean, it's over now, so you might as well.
Yeah, might as well. Good time. And I, like, through a very convoluted system of trying to throw money at their face, I was like, I would like to give you money in exchange for the show and watch it all legally because it's supposed to be easier that way. This time it wasn't. I ended up with Crunchyroll and all that, and I found a way to like yoink everything after I had a login and username and all that. But
Fun has a Crunchyroll account now.
Hey man, it's I can generate a temporary credit card number that works for exactly once. So good luck billing that again, guys. Here's the thing. We were talking about this in the pre-show. I kind of felt like they kind of milked Bulma up just a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that.
Like I was saying, let's be real. Bulma is like the second most sexually exploited character in Dragon Ball. The first one being Goku. we get way more Goku nudity throughout the entirety of Dragon Ball than we get like sexy Bulma. So
yeah, you had the Bulma shower scene, and that was basically it. And Goku tapping her panties like, no balls, no balls,
no balls, and then he steals her underwear. Dragon Ball.
Ladies and gentlemen, one thing that is also neutered is the horse. So why don't we see what it's up to this week?
See, I checked, and it certainly doesn't have any underwear or genitals because it's the Steam
Linux
update
of the week.
Yes. All right, Campo Santo. It's not Rancho Relaxo, but it's a close second.
Campo
you might remember them from, Shit, there was a Camp Onomatopoeia. No, there's or what was it? The summer camp in Cambodia? I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, you might remember them from such films as Firewatch, and by films I mean interactive storytelling experiences. They were absorbed by Valve. Valve has decided, hey, we're gonna buy you out. And so these guys are really excited because they get to take a very, very extended vacation, not having to develop their next game anymore because they've officially changed their clocks over to Valve time.
Yeah, it's basically the last we heard of Camposanto as a game developer. Now they're a part of Valve. No more making games for you.
Why do both of you have to be such negative Nancys, man? This could listen. I think Valve's like shit, man. We need to make a video game. Anybody here remember how to make video games? It was like, nope, not me. Hey, let's make some more DLC. You mean DLC? No, not DLC. Actual new content, new IP. It's like,
card games.
Card games.
Oh yeah,
no, a game. That. And so,
virtual reality.
Yeah, because I need to experience somebody talking to me in a walkie. No, man. I don't know. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's to me, it's more of a curious thing. I was like, out of the game companies you could have picked, why did you pick these guys?
Well, the one interesting thing is like when Valve absorbs a company, like what they did with the Portal guys, a couple of years later, they usually spit out something pretty interesting that's more of a refinement on what they had. And now that they have the Valve resources, they can kind of go a little buck wild on that. So I'm interested.
So they're going to refine Firewatch, which, as you mentioned, was basically a semi-interactive movie.
Yeah, and in this case here, you stick the needle like right back in your in the back of your head, jack into the Matrix, and then you walk around like a freaking Oregon forest for a while. It's a nice experience.
And build a log cabin. Steam Spy. It's the rumors of its death have kind of like not been exaggerated. This comes from their blog. All this business will be in the show notes. But they talk about, hey, man, what happened? If you don't know, back on the 11th of the Aprils, not Ides of April, because that's not March, Steam changed the way its API worked, and a lot of people's like, oh, man, this has to do with the GDPR. To which the human behind Steam Spy is like, nay, not at all. That did not appear to have fucker all to do with the GDPR. So what's changed? If you don't know Steam Spy, you keep track of stats, how many people are playing games, what it costs, and all that, sales and all that. He's going to mix things up since he can't access that sweet data anymore with his own version of algorithms and kind of based on maths and unicorn toenails from the reading of this. Now, it's like, does everything work like before? He's like, oh, fuck no, I'm just kind of testing this with a couple of titles right now, and he's balancing out his system with developers that he knows where he can get actual real numbers and see. And he's like, it's kind of sort of accurate. So it's going to be coming back slowly in little pieces. But the one thing I wanted to touch on with this little thing here, I want to quote him. He says, naturally, the old algorithm stopped working. And while I was busy creating a new one, some press rushed to pronounce the site dead. And let's say, I don't count ourselves as press. We didn't rush, and probably not talking about us at all. But we did report, and it was like RIP Steam Spy. Pedro, what would you possibly get that impression from?
Yeah, no, it's almost as if there was this Twitter post that every single news site that covered the story linked to, which reads something like, Valve just made a change to their privacy settings, making games owned by Steam users hidden by default. Steam Spy relied on this information being visible by default and won't be able to operate anymore.
Yeah, I mean that was a bit of a big old drama bomb thing. And so he goes into this article about like, oh, I have a background in economics. I was doing my abandoned PhD thesis on like mathematical modeling of like sales figures based on incomplete data. And so now we're going to be using this because I need an excuse to do something with all that research I did. And remember, kids, predictive models totally equal facts. That's 100% true. what surprised me was, according to the self-reported little blog post on Medium, developers were actually using data here, which, I mean, we were pretty adamant on the fact that, like, this is not reliable at all. This is tantamount to people self-reporting stuff, relying on like Steam API scraping, which is not reliable at all. But I guess if you're not working with Valve and you don't have access to that data, this is like the second or third best thing you could get if you want that sort of information.
Well, this is 100% true, but we knew that Steam Spy, the numbers swing wildly just from us talking with developers going, hey, it says that you've sold this many copies. And I'm like, oh, fuck no, I wish that number was accurate.
Yeah. We actually have a developer on tape saying that, but saying that exact same thing. And in his post, he does say that the error margin of like the 70 game developers that he's talked to varies anywhere from like 10% to 500%. So
that's not accurate at all. That's like a massive range of
that is the complete opposite of accurate. But hey, at least it's not dead, right? That's a thing.
See, that shot is my version of putting like water on two dogs fighting. It just almost nixes it. So check this out, man. Pedro, will you take my picture?
I will take your picture, even if you're built on the Unreal Engine. Because if you try to take a screenshot from an Unreal game with the past couple of versions over the past couple of months of Steam, well, you probably saw what we have seen time and time again, which is just a black screen, just nothingness. So, Valve put out a teeny tiny update on April 24th, and they fixed screenshots for titles using Unreal Engine 4 in OpenGL mode. There it is. And this one has me a bit curious, because they fixed OpenGL API errors for applications using core contexts within the Steam overlay. Now, my question is, will that fix the stupid random game freezing bug that happens whenever you open when you open the overlay in a Linux game? Because that would be nice.
I mean, the easy way to solve that too is to run separate X screens. The other thing too is apparently this Unreal Engine 4 issue was also impacting in-home streaming, and so they fixed that as well. And apparently for some OpenGL output titles, Steam in-home streaming was actually doing what Ben just did to Pedro right now, except I guess unintentionally.
Oh man, I'm just glad that they fixed this, because it was a ginormous pain in the... Well, all right, it was also a cheat mode, because if we're going to be looking at a game, like, oh, what engine is it? Hit F12, that's almost a 90% certainty. It's UE4. Between that and just like general look of how lighting works in UE4, he was like, oh, okay, I don't have to look that up. I can just put that in the notes. It's Unreal Engine 4. I want to go back and test things like Observer that just had just fuck all problems, and see just maybe if that got balanced out a little bit. Maybe, I don't know.
Observer is a bad choice for an example though, because they already have like the built-in graphical fuckiness that's like in the game.
It's like, is this in game, or is just the game fucking up outside of its usual self?
Yeah.
Indeed.
What do we get up next?
Valve and the ACCC down under, the consumer protection agency thing from Australia.
Hang on. Is this legit? Okay, the only reason an emu is on there is because they lost a war to them.
Yes.
The British, British lost the war to the emus, not the Australians.
I totally wouldn't be surprised if that was like the legitimate coat of arms for Australia. But yeah, this is about the ACCC. Back in 2014, they filed a suit against Steam because they were not consumer friendly. They didn't offer refunds. They didn't do any of that, and that's a big no-no against Australian law. So Valve lost the first case, and on March 2016 they appealed, and then they lost that. And then they filed for an appeal with the Supreme Court version that Australia has, or something like that. And they were denied. The application to appeal was immediately denied. So, hey, Valve's going to have to pay those $3 million dues, which, let's face it, for them, it's pocket change.
Exactly. It's dollar dues. Even if it was 3 million pounds or 3 million euros, Valve would be like, okay, hang on. Okay, we just made that, so we're going to pay it off. So I don't think there's a whole lot of bite to it. But I do want to say this, man. We want to give everyone, a round of hands, baby hands. They don't, just because now we have automated universal refunds, because Valve's like, fuck, all right, we don't want to go through this bullshit again. So let's just incorporate it, and you don't have to go through that. I mean, Pedro went through the old process of like, cross your fingers, send an email, maybe they get back to you.
I went through, and that was the thing. I keep saying I went through that process, and they're like, "Yeah, just don't do it again, but here's your refund." But like Vin, what you were saying before, the fact is that Valve probably made like, I'm gonna lowball and say about 10 times that money by not having the refund policy in place. So this is a very big slap on the wrist. But hooray for non-American consumer protection, i.e., just like regular ass consumer protection for dragging people into the light, kicking and screaming.
Yeah, and it's one thing. Like, you hear this now and that's totally why Valve started to introduce refunds. But back then, we didn't know because, oh, look, Valve is doing refunds now. That's a bit weird, but hey, that's a nice thing. And this news comes out a couple of years later. Oh, okay.
I think the timeline on that is wrong though, because we didn't know for sure, but we made a guess. Because I remember us talking about that. Where they're like, oh, I wonder if this refund thing is a direct consequence of the whole Australia mess. Turns out it was. Yeah. But looks like at least someone's there to pump the gas on getting some actual consumer friendliness in Steam. Speaking of gas, how about some beans?
New games.
Yes.
Drink. Feck.
Come on, man. Tell me about. Hang on, is it mine? Yeah. Wait,
that is
boo. All right, in the show notes, we're talking about Bud and Spencer and Terrence Hill slaps and beans. A lot of people on the Twitters and in chat room. It's like, you need to look at this game. It's the best game ever. It's got a full release. It's been in early access, but it's out. It is available. You can definitely put it in your face organ. Let's pop over here. It's 2D beat 'em up, side scrolling with a Western hint, where you also drive cars on a freeway. You can make sense of that just looking at the animated GIFs. Chugging the liters of the beer.
Juice.
Apple juice. I'm sorry. Sorry, YouTube. Apple juice and sausage mini game. Come on. That sounds interesting. Currently available for, let's see, it requires the 1404, $19.99. I was really excited about this right up until I saw it doesn't support online multiplayer, to which I went, oh, okay.
Yeah. And like this, I get some like big old Bayou Billy flashbacks when I look at this, and that game was like kind of crazy back in the day because like you had the racing segments, you got the brawler segments, and you got the shooting segments, which this game all has. I was watching a Game Grumps playthrough of this a while ago, and there's quite a bit of varied gameplay in here, and it does look pretty fun. The price tag though is kind of a little bit off-putting, but like if they got a lot of gameplay in there, then $20 isn't too bad.
Well, the animation style reminds me a lot of, if you remember playing Bloodsport, the arcade version. It was that rotoscope type.
Sort of like Mortal Kombat style?
Kind of like that, yeah. It definitely has that feel to it. I mean, $20, I mean, it looks incredibly well done. We unfortunately were jaded, like most of you at home are, because you've seen so much hipster pixel bullshit lately in the past few years. When you see this, like, oh, not again. But
a well-done game's a well-done game.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and looking at it, it's like, oh, the fighting scenes remind me a lot of Double Dragon, and I haven't played Double Dragon since, since before I even had pubes on the Master System. And it's, I'd be totally down for that. Sure, let's pretend I've gone through puberty now.
Listen, I'm not willing to make that jump in reality, okay?
No.
Speaking of making jumps, I wonder how that Tesla's doing.
Hey, man.
I guess we'll find out.
Listen, show me those 3 nipples, baby.
Let's not, yeah.
Yeah, so this is Surviving Mars. They got a patch update. My only exposure to this game is watching Mr. Foxdog play it on his YouTube channel. You should check that out. They have some new features, though. This is the opportunity update. They added passages so you can link structures now, but the passages are like super fragile, and if people are stuck in them, they'll die. Which, if you're starting a Mars colony, to me seems like it's a really bad design decision, and you should like actually kill the engineers involved with, you know, designing those things, maybe sticking them out on Mars themselves to suffocate. They also added some new modifiers where you can begin with free buildings. You can't import food from Earth. They have like an inflation mode. Some realistic Mars travel times and so on and so forth. So it's all, if you're into the game and you want to sort of vary up the gameplay a bit, you can do this stuff. It's all stuff that I don't care about. You probably care about if you're a fan of the game.
I don't know, man. I was taking a look at it, and I think you corrected me on this because I'm looking at it, and I was thinking SimCity, but you're like, no, not so much.
No, it's like straight up. It's city skylines. It's like colony planning and stuff like that. You got to make sure that like.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some like SimCity DNA in there, but it hews more closer to what like City Skylines is doing.
Still always equal. It's currently $39.99. So if this is
it's Hemimont too, so I mean, it fucking works.
Yeah, you know it's going to fucking work, and it's. I don't know. What do you think, Pedro? These types of games, part of me, I'm going to say a good 10-15% of me, kind of like City Skylines, is like, you know what? Just stay away from that crack, because I've seen the effects on our audience members in Discord of what happens. It's like, no, City of Skylines, not even once. And if this is in the same vein, it could be the equal nightmare fuel.
Yeah, it probably is, because, you know, just looking at the trailer and everything, that seems to have that same appeal. And yeah, much like you, I've seen what it's done to Mir and Foxy. Foxy. Like the three of them has just been going ham in City Skylines, and admittedly, there was one city builder back in the day, Kaisar 3, that I really enjoyed. I really, really enjoyed it. Since then, not so much. So yeah, no, $39.99, even at what is it, $28.99 in pounds. That's a bit much.
I mean, to be fair, if you're one of those people who gets sucked in there, that is worth it, because you will get your money's worth of gameplay, like 100%.
I mean, yeah, you're paying that. That is practically free because you'll be playing the game for years, and ROI on that's pretty good.
The way I usually figure it out is like minimum wage, right? If I can make up the price of the game in terms of like hours played in terms of minimum wage, then I think that's a good deal, right?
Well, do you think you'll be able to do it with Super Dungeon Boy Ultra Mega Fire?
Maybe you will, but not right now. They say it's coming out in April 2018. There's only 2 days left in April, so good luck with that. So this is Super Dungeon Boy Mega Fire, and, well, we talked about Hipster Pixels earlier. This is it, a retro platform game with lots of combat against flaming enemies. I challenge you to find all the secret dungeons. Oh, you're addressing me directly in the...
Wait a minute. Are we talking flaming or flaming?
Why not both?
Flaming.
Now you're talking, girlfriend.
Also, yes.
Listen, representation is important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's... I'm not entirely sure whether to take this game serious.
There's a demo version.
There is a demo, and... looking at like the Steam page, not just the description, but like everything, are you taking yourselves seriously when you make this? I'm guessing not.
Yes, they are. Because look, check it out on the SteamOS plus Linux requirements. Graphics, fucking optional. That is some next level shit they're going to be bringing.
Optional graphics. How about that?
Listen, I love games that you can play over Telnet or SSH, so don't hate.
You play this one by feel, man. Come on, it's a new genre of bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, like it gets said quite often on this show that there's not much that a healthy code of fire won't fix,
including ourselves.
Yeah. But it's time. It's instead of the seventh guest, it's the Steventh guest.
Got bad news, everyone. Steve is in fact dead. Yes, the awkward Steve duology. Why? Because Steve. Stress overload. Oh man, is this the mid to late 90s? Did you just buy a game that came with 13 fucking CDs? Nay. However, this is full motion video with some French bullshit tied to it about opening doors. This honestly looks like something we would come up with, and it's a thing, and it's currently $2.79. I actually might pick this up to play it.
So I have a question, because this is FMV, right? You know, FMV games used to come in a ton of different CDs, and this one, according to the system requirements, only needs 950 megabytes of space. So let's assume it's showing some really crappy upscaled version of 1080. What's that? 5-minute game?
950 megs, dude, with like MPEG 4, 950 megs.
Okay, sorry, 15 minutes.
And given how FMV games aren't actually one straight video through and through, like you could squeeze quite a bit of game into like a game.
If you're doing it at 1080p, you can get an hour in there depending on your bitrate.
Yeah, like what do you call it? The Don Bluth game, not Dragon Quest. Fucking, I'm spacing on it. The FMV, the OG FMV arcade game. You gotta save Princess Daphne. Yeah, I'm blanking on it. That in itself only had about 15 minutes worth of video in there.
Yeah,
well, you can do a lot and pad it out.
Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair. Okay.
Dragon's Lair. Yes.
Yeah. Laser CDs.
That was like only 15 minutes worth of animation. So like for an FM, and that's like high quality Don Bluth shit. So for like an FMV game,
I mean, these
you can squeeze a lot.
Could be encoded using RMBV. Real player G2. That'd be
real
fun.
media, all the things.
Why not, man? It could be hipster FMV.
I mean, there is a hipster protagonist, so sure.
Good luck with that.
It looks like if Empty and Strider had a baby.
Yeah.
I'm not going to entertain that.
And with that horrible mental image lodged in your brains, I think that's about it for the Steam Linux Update of the week. Coming up next, we talk about Tegra vulnerabilities, because this is Linux Security Cast.
Touch me in the Tegra.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you lot keep...
Ladies and gentlemen, why are you accusing people who watch the show of being either of those things? It's an insult.
Okay, sorry. All the non-binary people as well. It's basically...
I was going to go with high-functioning sociopaths.
We welcome all the zombie demon hordes of the internet.
I personally only want like tardigrades listening to this podcast. We're only targeting like microscopic organisms.
Oh.
If I need a microscope to see you, we're good. If I can't, if I see like just one cell of you through a microscope, go away.
If you're an amoeba and you like watching Linux Gamecast, please do so. Sound off. We'll tell you how you can get in touch with us.
Pedro, if amoebas start watching, the world's fucked. I mean,
let's be real. Let's be real. Amoebas are too highbrow for our contents. But if you are dumber than a single cell,
no. If you would like to stop the amoeba Linux Gamecast watching invasion imminent, you can do that by giving us money, because that makes sense, right?
Absolutely. LinuxGameCast.com. Click the support button. Use your giant interconnected single cell computers to do that. We got all sorts of affiliate links, things you can click on. Enter your credit card number. Give us money. We really, really appreciate it. We cannot do it without you. And of course, all the cool kids, head on over to patreon.com/LinuxGamecast, where you can get a lot of cool stuff like access to the guest Discord server. So you can fuck around with us on Saturdays and Thursdays and Wednesdays and Tuesdays and Fridays. Get early show note access. You can even contribute to the making of this piece of shit. Get access to uncut VODs 3 days early. You get RSVPs for game streams if we're doing some audience participation things. And if you give us enough money, you can just be an audience. You can just be a cast member on the show.
Hey man, does my financial donation help do other things like multiple streams, or am I just backing this bullshit? Or
no.
No?
What we do is we take your money and we stick it in a furnace, and I think nothing bad happens in there. It's all good.
Jordan just cackles maniacally while the money is burning.
Oh, it is kind of brilliant. Hey, man, to help burn that money at a faster rate, we do streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. See, these two asshats have their own shows, which if you haven't put that together, Pedro does Tuesdays, he does fuck all whatever, and Jordan usually plays something with Sandman. So it's like a two thing. But wait, there's more, because I have started doing the Friday night food bars. We got the people showing up. It's you don't have anything to do on Friday nights, come check us out. Where it's basically me, Jill, and whoever else shows up. And we tried something we're going to be trying this week, if you want to come by and check it out, is we've been playing around with Jackbox Party Pack 3, right? And there's one that we realized we're going to have to do this convoluted bullshit, return video type thing, which we're going to do, where you have to figure out if the other person's fucking like, it's like fibbage, lying, and whatever it requires. That's going to be interesting. Come check. Do we have anybody to think this week? I hope we do. We got 4 people actually. We got Frostclaw20, who apparently thinks I'm a very handsome man according to his Discord. He's a new Patreon. Nicole has given us some cash, and Gerulio has increased his pledge. So thanks a lot. And I guess we want to give a special shout out to Mr. Shay Dean, formerly of Root Gamer, now just kind of doing his own thing, but he's been a mainstay for a good long while, and he's always helping us out. Hey, man. So, yeah, Frostclaw, Nicole. Hey, do you want to know a fact about Nicole I learned last night?
What was that?
Kicked my ass in trivia.
Ooh.
True story.
Trivia queen.
And Jay Rulio, thank you for helping make that happen. You do get access with the other wonderful weirdos. You know, you're in good company to our Discord. That's kind of where we hang out the other 6 days of the week. So treat yourself to some of that. I don't know. Does that work?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Let's get on to the news. RetroArch. RetroArch.
Arch 172. It is out. Has just been released. A couple of things, man. The big highlight is run-ahead latency reduction. Better latency than the real hardware. Is that not possible? Apparently, it's possible. Seems like it would also be fucky. Depending on how you learn to play the actual game. A couple other highlights that we want to throw in here. They've added 15 kilohertz mode lines for use with standard definition CRT TVs. This is cool for a lot of reasons. Mainly if you're a hipster that wants to play on CRT TVs. So it's going to look legit. And a new Qt-powered desktop UI is in the works. That is coming in the near future. So good on them. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing about CRT TVs, though, is that, like, no one's going to fucking steal them because no one's going to carry them out of your house.
No one wants to carry, like, 10 kilos worth of, what, 1280 by 1024 resolution?
and I mean, if you want to preserve the original experience, I guess you can with RetroArch. The Raspberry has, like a composite audio or a composite video out, so you can straight up do that. Yeah, they have... they added that the latency reduction thing, so you can.
Yes,
I think this would help out more for like tool assisted speedruns, because then you can fuck with like the frame timing inputs or frame input timings, and you can probably do some fucky stuff with that. Like apparently Super Mario World 2 has like guaranteed like 2 millisecond frame delay for input. I don't know.
Yeah,
might help out.
Which is great. The way that they managed to do that, because according to them anyway, the frame latency is better than the real hardware. I am kind of curious to, they actually give a little bit of the how, because there's already been a couple articles.
That's a bold damn claim, but yeah, man, they doubled down on it.
But yeah.
Up next?
Yeah. Up
next we have... also a mainstay of the show, let's be honest, Super Tux Kart. I think we've thrown chairs at it, what, twice now?
Just the one time.
Just the once? Okay. So they say that 2017 was an amazing year for Super Tux Kart, and they got a lot of support. They also got some teeny tiny inklings of network multiplayer, but we'll get to that. And right now, with this release, 0.9.2 is they have better performance, they have physics-based rendering, they have custom shaders, new file format, and it all makes the game supposedly look so much better. Although I downloaded the new version and gave it a shot, and
I mean, let's be real. We're going from like 1998 PC graphics
There
to
it
like
is.
2005
Glad to read
PC
it.
graphics.
Is there any news about network multiplayer? Ask the first fucking question. Yeah. Tell me about that, because since the history of, I don't know, this show, the number one requested feature is like, can we have online multiplayer or network multi? Come on, maybe.
So here's the question: when the Super Text Card release comes out with network multiplayer, we're gonna throw chairs at that again. Just
Fuck
be
yeah.
like,
It's going to be after show too, man. Then everybody can come in and play it. Because listen, every time I see a Super Tux upgrade, and this is just like, a recap of what's going on since 2018. I do a Control F. What I just did there is like multiplayer. If it doesn't say multiplayer in it, don't fucking care. That is a feature that
one of the devs actually says in the comments, like, there is progress, but it's not quite playable. We'll do a post about it sometime later this year. Yeah, I'd like to read that.
Oh, hang on. No. Listen.
You
I'm going to get this out, man. Arthur, there is progress, but it's not quite playable. That comment is not a repeat from 2014, 2015, 2016, or 2017. Welcome to 2018, where it is a repeat of all those previous years.
So what I was going to say is, like, put a fucking bounty on it, right? Super Text Card, do they have a Patreon? They take donations. Yeah, just like, hey, someone want to implement it? Here's $500. Get it done.
No.
No. See, that's a terrible idea. No, we're not going to do that. No, sir. That one requested feature that's been on our fucking bug tracker since not .0.0.0.0.1. When we were planning this, like, hey, should we have a network multiplayer? Nah, who's gonna want that?
Hey, man, I don't know. I mean, French developers, dude. What are you gonna do about it? Because listen, you're gonna screw yourself if you start, like, if it's a really popular thing that everyone wants. They're gonna be like, well, no. And listen, I'm only half joking when I'm saying that, because we can give you case studies on where that's happened more than once. Pedro, back me up on that. So
it's not like we did a show on Wednesdays with a French developer at some point.
Listen,
yeah, but those were all shitty episodes. Your new host is way better.
Fair.
Listen, man, that's racist. A, B, we need to talk about Fuse. What? Fuses.
Fuse gelé.
Speaking of French stuff, man, vulnerability, disclosure, fuse, whatever. We're talking about the big gaping honking flaw in the Tegra's line of embedded processors that was hinted at, I believe, last month and the month before that, where they walked out and they're like, yo, man, not only is this shit busted, it's busted to the point to where there's no way they're going to be able to fix it with a software update. And Jordan, you had some thoughts about how they were getting into it, right?
Yeah, I had assumed that it was like some remote debug thing that was embedded in the silicon, like some kind of JTAG thing they could hook into. And it's not quite that. What happens is, in the pre-boot environment, you can the USB pre-boot driver will basically accept anything, and so you can load custom software through it, which will then get loaded into memory. And through that, you can load a kernel. And long story short, now you have Linux on your Nintendo Switch, which is really cool because, I mean, it's not an entirely foreign architecture or something like weird and non-PC based like the PlayStation 3. No, this follows like a standard ARM device layout. And as such, you can get regular ass Linux working on there. The interesting thing too is this is applicable to like any Tegra based device from like the past couple of years. So NVIDIA Shields, anything like that, you'll be able to take advantage of this. Maybe even get like a one-click installer for like, I don't know, Lineage OS or something eventually once this thing matures. And because this is like freaking deep silicon level firmware, you can't really fix it. And so I'm kind of siding with you on this because, like, as much as Nintendo hates people fucking with their shit, this is going to sell a lot of. This is going to sell a lot of Switches.
Keep going.
No, that's it. You can get shaped nipples all you want.
No, man. Yeah, man, Nintendo, I don't think they're going to bother with a hardware refresh, mainly because, yeah, all right, Empty, I see you. Empty's in the show notes. You can leave some comments while we're working on the sausage. Everyone gets there's a Patreon tier for the early show note access, but he's like, man, Nintendo's already sold a gang of Switches. And I'm like, yeah, but they're going to do double gang. Giggity, they're about to sell like gang more, because now I'm like, wait a minute. Shit, I might just go pick one up, because this thing just turned it's turned into a piracy device, which I'm not interested in, but it's also turned into a homebrew device, like a good one. It's a little baby NVIDIA Shield with controllers.
It's a tablet running on the X1 SoC, and when you kind of cock up the implementation of the USB recovery functionality, yeah, everything that uses that particular SoC is going to be vulnerable. It's the Shield, like Jordan mentioned. No, not that one, or that one, or that one.
Marvel's Agent of.
Fuck you, Jordan. I was going to make that joke.
And there was it's the Shield, the Switch, and something else that also uses the X1 that I can't remember right now. They're all vulnerable. Basically, anything that's based off of the T201 X1 version is vulnerable to this. And granted, Nintendo's probably not going to care because they're going to sell some, but I think they're going to at least want to have some words with NVIDIA. It's like, what the hell?
Now, there is one potential for Nintendo to do a hardware refresh. There was a gaggle of like original hardware issues with the Switch, like shit warping in the dock and like just weird overheating issues. So they may do a new revision to address some of those like actual physical materials issues.
Pixel C, yes, thank you for us.
Yes. Switch is already selling like hotcakes. Like that is the new hot shit. People realized, hey, the specs are kind of crappy, but there's some good games on there.
You're missing it, man. Hardware refresh, Switch Mini.
So what? It'll be about like this big?
Yeah.
It'll be a phone. It will literally be a phone.
Ring, phone. Nintendo phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a thing. It's going to be real. You never know. Hang on. Sildat's like, Nintendo's already announced that they moved to the Shit ain't out yet, son. So let's not count those eggs before they chicken or whatever. However that works. Daggerfall, Unity. Why are we talking about this shit?
Because this is a weird-ass project. It's not quite as crazy as OpenMW, but I mean, it's a thing that's happening. Daggerfall is like a huge fucking game. People have a lot of good memories associated with it, so getting something up and running in a modern engine that you can play on your regular PC, it's kind of nice. And so they're talking, this little article is a blog post, links to that in our show notes, about the framework they're using to make spells, because they decided to implement a spell sort of class system that allows them to implement most of the spells in the original Daggerfall, but it also enables you to create custom spells. So you can have continuous damage and health, or damage to health, or a heal type. You can have access to all the elemental types. You can get you can assign different damage animations to the spells themselves. They're gonna add more backend stuff so you can fuck around with it. I just want Magic Dick Missile in my Daggerfall, man. And I mean, like a lot of people are gonna be like, well, who cares? I'm sure a ton of Daggerfall enthusiasts are like, oh fuck yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I can finally get my Magic Dick Missiles. I can turn that guy into a dick with a fireball. It's great.
It's Daggerfall. It's some people will argue that it is the best Elder Scrolls. I still say that was Morrowind, and I'm very, very glad that OpenMW is where it is. But yeah, no, the spell system, it's always been very nice to have the ability to make your own custom spells in the Elder Scrolls games, and well, they're bringing it to Daggerfall too, so awesome.
It's the thing. I remember watching Flatmate when I was in uni doing this, playing it, and I was like, all right, that's neat. I'm curious as to why Unreal, other than, listen, if you can do it, why the fuck not? I'm not going to tell you not to. And they've been working on this for quite a while. And Unity is source available. So
yeah, and the other thing too is if you want to check this out, it is available for the price of free, because you can download Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall from the Elder Scrolls website. You can just download them.
Yes.
So they need to finish this, and all the teams need to get together and start work on fucking Open Skyrim, for fuck's sake.
let's get OpenMW out the door first, and then we can then we can start working on that. And finally, Dark Alpha, talking about like games from the 90s and websites that look like they were made in the 90s. This is Dark Nebula Online. They have this is a blog post about the new forum that they have set up so that people who play this game, it's kind of like a shoot 'em up spaceship simulator, open world multiplayer thing.
It looks like a penis flying through space.
I mean,
that's because that's what it is.
Let's be real. Most spaceships look like space sticks.
That one looks like a particular penis-shaped spaceship.
Listen, the entire point of gratuitous space battles was basically just a giant dick-wagging simulator.
Am I trying to impregnate planets?
Maybe. Anyways, they added. So the interesting thing about this game is that they're using Godot. Good on them for that high-quality open-source tool. They are using. They have some refactored ship code. They have new ship art. They have a minion AI, and they added some TTS functionality. So now their little AI assistant will start screaming at you that they love when the Purple Monkey dishwasher, I need scissor 61, does the hair carry backflip on the stuffed worm. So that's definitely a thing. They did the FTL thing too, where they have like multiple tracks, and like when you go into space battle mode, it'll be like, oh, you're going space battle track mode to hype you up a little bit more. So that's the thing. It's a project. It's available.
It's online too, right? It's an MMO type thing.
It's online,
yeah.
Did you think they could implement Cortana?
Well, there's already the image of a computerized lady there, so.
Well, I'm just saying, Cortana might like check out like dicks and stuff or something.
I want to see if they can implement Microsoft Tay in this, because 4chan turned her into a super racist.
Right.
Just put Clippy on the corner.
Clippy. There you go. Clippy should be your AI. You want to die? Yeah. Shut up, Clippy.
It looks like you're trying to steer yourself into a black hole. Would you like help with that?
What's his name from Voyager? You could do like a horrible version of him.
Oh man, I had a hand in contributing to a Clippy erotic fiction. My one line contribution was, "It looks like you're trying to achieve an orgasm. Would you like some assistance?"
On that bombshell.
On that bombshell, coming up next, we are throwing some chairs at the latest Feral game, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Turns out we can actually raid some tombs in this for once.
It's not a tomb. Brr.
I've always been curious how Lara Croft would fare against the Tomb of Horrors. I mean, she'd probably end up dying in many ways that you can like see her dying, but whatever. This is way too an esoteric joke. This is Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's developed by Crystal Dynamics, Feral Interactive, Squeenix, etc. The port was brought to you by the fine folks at Feral Interactive. You can pick it up for about $60-$70 if you're in Canada, because fuck Canada. What is it? 1 year after the events of Tomb Raider, archaeologist Lara Croft is struggling to explain her experience of the supernatural Yamatai and appears to be suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Looking for answers, she turns to her late father's research into the lost city of Kitse, or Kitesh, and the promise of Kitesh. Yes. Wasn't that like Claudia Black's character in Stargate? Anyways, and the promise of immortality. This is CHAIRQASITION. This is where we take a game, we talk about it, we play it, we throw some chairs at it, maybe do a little bit of quality assurance that the developers should have done before pushing it out to prod. We do that by using the chairs. Hallowed be them. 1 means that it's shit. 2 means that it's okay. 3 means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means that it's amazeballs. And we apply these to our categories of doom. Makes with the working shiny sounds control some fun. So, Ben, you had a bit of an adventure getting this game up and running. So why don't you take off next with the working?
All right.
Also take off your clothes.
Oh man, it's getting hot in here. So you might think I did give this a go, man. I tried this out on our production box, which is a Ubuntu 17. Basically everything that's in the recommended system requirements to a T.
Minus the
for the Ryzen processor.
Yeah, Ben, because it only works on Intel processors. That's the thing. It really didn't work all that well. going to say this. Once I got it up and running. Now, I'm not running a bizarre moon setup. I know you're going to say, hey, Vin, but you have a 980 and a 770 in the same box with 5 monitors. That's cray-cray. Not to X. It's not. It's pretty bog standard. And you would have an argument. You would if the 531, 6 of which are Vulkan titles, didn't work flawlessly because issues. It's got a couple, man. Just getting it to launch. In order to get it to launch without freeze framing, jumping in and out of like every little animation, I have to kill Compton, the compositor. That's the only way to get it up and running. And it's also an issue, like if I try to use XFCE4's built-in compositor, same thing happens under GNOME 3. I tested that out. And just no joy on that, but I was able to get it running windowed because I can only run it windowed 1080p, which like, well, that's not too bad. It's like 3840 by 2160. It's a bit shit. But once I got it up and running, it performed decent. I mean, it's using Vulkan, averaging like 87 FERPs at 1080p. So good on that. And that's on high. But I gotta say works with a bunch of air quotes around it because, you know, I'm like got 4 hours of playtime and most of that is testing things that I've been on the horn with Farrell about over the past week. And unfortunately, at this point in our relationship, we're back down to like, have you tried disabling the Steam overlay? It's like, motherfuckers, really? That's the thing. I will say this. You'll see this in the Steam forums, and I think you'll see this in Discord and chat realm. There's people talking about, and I think we've all experienced it at some point. This will lock your box up. It will happen. I experienced it like right when I first dived into the water, like at the beginning of the game, that happened. And another time around a bear, it happened. So I've taken to testing it with a tablet SSH'd into the box because getting to a terminal can be a bit dodgy when that happens. But technically I was able to get it up and running, and other people have not had these issues. Not these particular issues, but there are issues with memory leaks, and everyone, I think, has experienced the Vulkan lock at some point. But I'll throw it a solid 2, because technically it does run.
Yeah, it can get a little bit crashy on max settings, and it's pretty unplayable at UHD. Hearing Ven's report about the performance under the Ryzen system leads me to believe that you might be able to stably hold above 30 at UHD. For me, it was hovering around 25. Maybe it peaked at about like 33, but I didn't have that. I didn't have the issue with the compositor. I was able to play it in 1080p full screen. No real issues. Getting about 67 frames a second on average there. So look at the Vulkan standard of look at Laura. I had that happen too. That's good. Some 2 more shit. Sorry, audio listeners, you get screwed. Anyways, what I be saying was that I think the Vulkan adage of more cores equals better holds true for this game. So you might want that. You might want some of the new Intel CPUs with 6 to 8 cores, or one of the AMD CPUs that just gives you 8 cores. Anyways, I did have one freeze in around the same time that Ven did when you first fight the bear for real, and fortunately for me, it crashed immediately after I killed it. And when I loaded the game back, it remembered that I had killed it, so I didn't have to go through the fight again. Good on the game for that. Beyond a couple like weird random crashes for no reason that like aren't really reproducible, no real issues. So I'll give it a solid 3 chairs. There's definitely some wonk with it needs to be addressed in the coming patches. Pedro, or I'll give it 3 chairs on Fedora 26, 64-bit, GTX 980, and i7 6700K. Now, Pedro.
Yeah, I didn't get any of the crashes or the freezes. I did see after I killed the bear, the game did freeze for just a teeny tiny little bit, but then it resumed. So I'm guessing whatever it is with that specific area. That's why at least everyone here seems to have experienced something with it. The thing that's really sticks out to me is the shift between regular play, where on my end with the GTX 1080 and the Ryzen 5 1600 on Ubuntu 1604 is the I'm getting 80 to it varies between 70 and 80 FERPs on very high. And it's jarring to see the transition between, oh, I'm getting a really smooth frame rate, I can play the game really well, and then a cutscene starts 30 FPS. Fuck you. Yeah, that's about as jarring as you'd expect. Also, this footage you're looking at right now, that took a bit of doing, because I tried what I usually do, which is just kill the Kwin compositor and just do the recording like that, because that seems to work for most games. Not this one, because the moment I clicked into the game window, OBS would say, yeah, no, I can't hold a steady 60. I can't even hold a steady 30. So Ven suggested try using NVEnc. So that's NVEnc, and it seemed to hold the frame rate a bit better, but it managed to garble up the audio in the recording. So, well, it's a good thing we don't do game audio, because that's no good. So 3 chairs from me.
All right, well, that's 2 chairs for mixed with the working. How about the shiny and sounds? I think this is going to be the shortest section out of all of them, maybe. Here's the thing. Like, AAA from 2 years ago, still really, really good looking. Professional voice acting is professional. The soundtrack is just kind of your generic random orchestral sweeps and predictable game music. But like, here's the deal. Squeenix, ever since they started doing 3D shit in like the PS2 era, they've kind of been the benchmark for 3D cutscenes, and this holds true. This looks like it could be a movie. I think I'd rather watch this than the upcoming Tomb Raider movie, to be perfectly honest. So I'm gonna give us 4 chairs for the looks and the sounds, because it's just, well, the production quality is there. You cannot deny it. Period.
Pedro?
Yeah, it looks AAA, it sounds AAA. I'm pretty sure I could leverage quite a great deal of criticism at the AAA games industry and AAA games themselves, but aesthetics is where they shine. 4 chairs.
Yeah, man, I actually find myself agreeing with Pedro and Jordan. Well, actually, Jordan more than Pedro, because that 30 frames per second.
The profit is empty. Hail empty.
Those cutscenes are brutal. They're very jarring, considering most of the cinematics take place in game. So it's like, why is this? The only thing I can think is like, oh, this was on consoles, and these particular scenes were really fucking chuggy on the consoles, so we had to do the video versions, which are at 30. Outside of that, yeah, it looks like an upgraded version of the Tomb Raider, which we had, 2 years ago now? And that's nothing bad. It looks all right. I mean, hell, some of the in-game like cinematic areas that are done with the engine verge on Uncanny Valley. So it's like, whoa, okay, that's looking pretty good. Voice work, that's what you expect from AAA. The titles, very passable, above passable, hell, borderline good. I'll throw in a solid 4 with my chair Patriots on this one.
All right, well, that's 4 chairs for the shiny and the sounds. How about the controls, Pedro?
Well, the controls, I said earlier that aesthetics is where AAA games shine. Turns out having a lot of people working and a lot of quality assurance and a lot of everything else, they kind of need to get the controls down. So controls, when it comes to AAA games, they shine there too. There are some exceptions, yes, but in Rise of the Tomb Raider, or Rise of the More Tomb Raiding, it's... No, they're fine. They're absolutely fine. I ended up just playing with a mouse and keyboard because I'm a subscriber to the whole PC Gamer Master Race thing, sort of, kind of, maybe. And 4 chairs.
So I've been playing with the DualShock 4 just because I like this better than the Xbox controller. It feels nicer in my hand. So game has native DualShock 4 controller support. Unfortunately, and this is not the game's fault by any stretch of the imagination, Steam Input likes to say, hey, I'm going to treat you as a Steam controller whether you like it or not. And if you want to fix that, you got to go into big picture mode to shut off that behavior, which is really annoying because I'd rather just do it through the regular Steam interface. I don't want to have to go through all the Steam big picture rigmarole to like find the one menu in that one freaking section. I know where it is now in every game, so I can just zoom there, but it's still annoying as balls. Once you get that all done, everything works out of the box. All the button prompts are correct. The one problem I have, and it's just a standard one, is that shooting with keyboard or with not with keyboard and mouse, without keyboard and mouse using the joysticks is fucking terrible. So I found myself switching to controller and mouse for the shooting segments, and after a while, like the game, let's be real, the game is 100% playable with just keyboard and mouse. You're not going to run into any issues with that. Even with the auto aim enabled, I still found that shooting with the controller is really, really bad. And the thing is, with this sort of game, I kind of want to chill back. And I was actually hoping to stream it to my Steam box and just play it on the couch, but that was not going to happen just because of the controller issues. So I'm going to ding it a chair for that. So it gets 3 from me.
I really don't have any complaints, man. I mean, I worked out of the box with the Areola controller, the Steamy controller. And I was happy to see that. No issues. All the prompts showed up. Everything worked because I was like, oh, man, do I have to sit and configure this bullshit? Which sometimes you do. Not the case. And I was pleased to see that because with the Xclone controller, with the D-pad, the hat sticks, man, I remember trying to play the just Tomb Raider. It was miserable. I couldn't aim. I was genuinely playing with the controller until I got to a shooty part. Then I'd grab the dribble and poop, pop. I was like, but with the Steam controller, I'm saying there's a chance, man. I'm saying there's a chance. You know, it's, I can learn, not necessarily to get good, but with the auto aim half-ass assist, I think I could pull this off in the time I was able to spend with the game. So I'll say good on that. I mean, the Areola controller, that pad gave a nipple. It gives me a fighting chance, and I might become proficient with that. You know, admittedly, right now, every time I have to pull out a bow or the gun, I am like subconsciously saying, all y'all's asses would in fact be the dead if I was using a gerbil right now. But yeah, no complaints. This is meant to be played with a controller, whatever you like. That's a good thing about PC gaming. Now, you can definitely play this with a keyboard and mouse because it's PC gaming, bitches. It's all about choice. Nothing's the right answer. The right answer is whatever works for you, and I'm definitely going to say that was the case with a Steam controller. Right in 4.
All right. Well, that is 4 chairs, or that's 3 chairs for the control segment. How about fun, Ben? Did you have fun?
Oh,
how's your side doing?
Man, listen, man. I finally get to revisit our dear friend Laura. I'm injured on my right side, Croft. How I've missed you, girlfriend. Call me. Healing berries. That's the thing in the game. You'll find out about that. It's Laura's first reaction to everything to make a fucking bow. I mean, that's...
To be fair, this one was already there. She just needed to string it.
String it? I don't know. She's like, oh shit, I got a flat tire on the car. Better make a bow or better string the bow. I don't know. It's not my first thing.
Better drink my own piss.
Hey man, Bear Grylls, get shit done. I mean, if you played the Tomb Raider 2013, it's a bit more of that, but not in a bad way at all. You know, I was kind of worried when you hear the hubbub and the game does introduce, you know, crafting elements, but it's basically go collect shit, hit, and make, which almost seems borderline unnecessary, but hey, man, it's like crafting without all the extra steps. What I can say is I want, like, OG Tomb Raider 1, DOS Tomb Raider, to be able... like to bring that back because she could go like straight up like Kung Fu Jimmy Chow with the backflips and just the fun maneuver. You had fun just maneuvering Laura way back in the day. Not so much now. Time does us all in, unfortunately. What I will say is this. I mean, it looks like a really good game. I mean, for a 2-year-old game, coming up maybe on 3 years, it still holds up. It looks great. It's one of the better looking games on Linux currently. But I got to say, it's definitely worth, if you catch it, because it goes on sale all the time for $19.95 or somewhere in there. Definitely worth that. But you might genuinely want to wait for a point release, not necessarily. If you go to the Steam forums, go to technical support, because I know people are listening to this for confirmation bias. I'm like, it works on my end. There's nothing wrong with it. Read the forums. I mean, those are issues with hard locks, memory leaks, which I did not experience any memory leaks. It seems to hold right around 8 gigs. And Farrell recommends 12. But I hope to get all that resolved. But yeah, I primarily say, you know, I couldn't have a good time with it because system locks and anything that does system locks. No. I mean, semi-hard, even if you can escape them, because I got to say, having just getting to the point mentally, it's like, okay, I better go get a tablet, set it up down here, SSH in, so I can kill the game. And yeah, that's not my definition of fun. I'm sorry. So yeah, just one share on that.
Yeah, so I mean, like Ben said, if you played the original Tomb Raider or not the original, the 2013 Tomb Raider, the original reboot of the original of the reboot of the original of the reboot, you're not in for anything entirely new. They added a couple more survival mechanics and a little light Minecraft mode, but let's be real, the real meat of the game is the exploration, and that's honestly where the fun is. I'm super glad the game starts you out just straight up raiding tombs, because the last game was a little short on that. But seriously, exploring everything, like swinging around, climbing, detecting stuff, feels super great. It's fun. I had a blast. The combat is like your bog standard over the shoulder boulder holder shooter, but every time I get into a fight, it's just like, okay, I got to get through this because there's more exploring to do. And the areas are huge. There's so much shit to do in them. Mm-hmm. There's like bonus tombs, there's challenges, there's just so much stuff. And they actually give you a reason to backtrack, because if you're into the story stuff, you upgrade your language skills as time goes on. And like, there are places that you can't initially translate, and you can sort of Metroidvania your way back and sort of get a larger picture of the plot here, which I was kind of into. And this is just me, or they're really trying to make that ice pick Laura's crowbar, or whatever your tool of choice is, because like, yeah, in the scene following this, or you just saw like the cutscene with Laura's friend and her getting choked. There's another scene that comes up where I'm pretty sure Laura's just about to straight up Trotsky a motherfucker. And I'm like, oh man, that'd be cool. Mm-hmm. Melee combat in this is not the greatest thing. Like, I get that it's supposed to be the last resort, but a lot of like the QTE stuff revolves around your melee combat abilities. And that's honestly like my biggest problem with this game is the QuickTime events. I remember when Legend of Dragoon came out for PlayStation 1, and they had the QTEs for like all the combat, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's so revolutionary. It's like, no, I didn't want to do that. And there are a ton of times, especially like when you transition out of cinematics, because all the cinematics are in game, where you're like, oh shit, I'm in control. Oh, I died. Oh, it would have been nice of you to tell me that, game, so that I could pick up the controller after this 20-minute long cutscene.
I gotta I agree. You get acclimated to like, okay, I can just put the controller down because this thing's going to go on a journey, and you want to check out the story. But yeah, that immediate like, oh yeah, by the way, the game's back. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, and then you get eaten by a bear or impaled on spikes, or like a wolf comes and like shoots you with his handgun. I don't know. But here's the thing. I'm enjoying my time with the game. Some of the water puzzles get a little obtuse, but they're manageable. It's just like eventually, after staring at the same area for like maybe 5-10 minutes, it clicks and you're like, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't press this button in this corner. Oh, there we go. So if you like the OG, or if you like the 2013 Tomb Raider, this is just a more refined version of that. If this wasn't your jam, I wouldn't recommend it. I definitely had more fun with this than I did with 2013 Tomb Raider. So I'll give it a solid 3 chairs.
Yeah. No, my biggest sticking point with the old one were the QTEs, and I still fucking hate them. I still hate how delivering the story through cutscenes, in this case, literally, it slows down the game. Oh, look at this cutscene. Look at it in its magnificent cinematic 30 FERPs. Yeah, no. The core gameplay, though, like Jordan already mentioned, it's, that's what made me give the previous game 3 chairs, and that's probably what's going to make me give this game at least those very same 3 chairs. The catharsis of seeing Laura get impaled again and again because the game didn't register my input, it's still very much there, and I think they realized this, so they now added a little buffer the couple of times you trigger, first couple of times you trigger a trap. The time slows down. It's like, oh, this is about to happen. Okay, all right. And you can, you learn from that. The rest of the gameplay is great. The DLC gives you plenty of stuff to do. If you like to min-max stats, you got the card system where you can make the game harder and get some bonuses, or make the game easier and lose some of the experience and other rewards that you were getting. I personally really enjoyed the zombie invasion thing that you're in Croft Manor and you have to defend it from the zombies. I very much like that. I still fucking hate the QTEs though. Fucking hate that noise. 3 chairs for me.
All right, well, that is 2 chairs for the fun segment, and that means that it is 2 chairs for the Strider for Rise of the Tomb Raider. So you got any final thoughts, ladies and gentlemen?
I look forward to playing it. You know, this is the game that I've waited for 2 years, and admittedly, I'm grumpy, but anybody else who picked it up and is having issues with it is grumpy as well. So, I'm glad a lot of people are not having issues with it. And it looks great. What I have been able to play of it, I want to play more. So, I mean, I can't fault it for, like, anything other than just on the technical side. It's got some bugs, and they need to be addressed, like, yesterday.
Absolutely. And it's good to have more Tomb Raider because, yes, the 2013 version that came out in 2016 on Linux was very good, or 2015. It was good, but it was very short, and there was a very clear dissonance between we're telling you a story and you're supposed to be in a hurry and you need to get to places, but you're actively being rewarded for not going to those places. And here, this game seems to have fixed that issue. It's a much more improved, refined, better version of that old game, and I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, no, this game is a blast. The exploration is great. The combat's all right. Honestly, like I said, the best part is the exploration. If that was the part of the OG Tomb Raider that you found lacking, this game has it in spades.
The lack of raidable tombs, which were just optional in the last one.
Yeah, no, and now there's just like, yo, dog, I got a tomb inside your tomb, so you can tomb raid while you tomb raid. It's pretty great. There's all sorts of fun stuff to do. I definitely recommend picking it up. Maybe wait till it goes on sale, because also that'll give Feral some time to fix some of the very, very present bugs with it. Maybe improve a bit of the performance with the Vulcan as well. We were talking about that in the pre super shows, and you should check that out for your Patreon. There's a little plug for that. All right, coming up next, we got some more hate mail about Tomb Raider. We're not done.
You're welcome for that limiter, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Well, we're just about ready to wrap this up. But hey, chances are, during the show, we said something that pissed you off royally. So why don't you, make like a good English person and you send a passive-aggressive message to our contact form. It's really easy. You go to linuxgamecast.com, you hit the contact button, and you fill out said form. Just make sure LGC Weekly is the thing that's on the little drop-downy thing. You can also send some feedback for that Wednesday show, what Ven, myself, and Jill do. Or you can ask Jordan for relationship advice. He's actually been doing pretty good on that, well, for the one bit of relationship advice questions we got. He did pretty good, so send him some more. I think he enjoys it. Who knows?
I don't enjoy anything, Pedro. All right. First off, hey, we're not done talking about Tomb Raider. This is from Vito. Some Vito Corleone sleeps with the fishes. Wait, no, that's Luca Brasi. Anyways, I'm one of the people who had O problems with Tomb Raider, and I'm running Compton and didn't have to turn it off. To be honest, one time it froze, and I changed to a different workspace to come back and fix it, which was really weird. Performance is great. Then again, I have a 1080, so maybe I'm not the best person to talk about performance. Yeah, I mean, we kind of just talked to exhaustion about Tomb Raider. Yeah.
Well, I hate to break it to you.
I have a 1080.
Yeah, that was the first thing.
It worked well.
I was like, maybe I'm not the... Because it did come across, he's like, well, I do have a 1080. I was like, fucking Pedro has a 1080, man. Come on. Those things grow on trees.
Yeah. And
Jordan and I have 980s. So, but again, that is a comment. It's like, wait a minute, I had to drop to a TTY. And it's like, yeah, that's a thing, almost a universal experience. If you've played this game long enough, it will happen. I'm again, glad it's working for everyone. So, Jordan, did you like take mescaline or some shit during the break? Well, what's going on, buddy?
I'm just bored.
You're just bored?
Jordan's face is going numb.
All right.
So up next we have Dmitry. How you doing? He contacted us last week or the week before, and now he's back. Hello, this is your Irish/Russian fan here. Number one, Ven, I got involved with both your gay fathers. Don't judge me for it. It's current year after all, and you're an ass, albeit entertaining ass. Number two, when are we going to see Pedro doing some striptease? I was waiting for too long. We all were. Number three, Pedro, if you like this news, you owe us a striptease. Wow, you seem really insistent on that one. Imagine Mother Capitalist fucking ARPG on the Linuxes. Okay, it's not there yet, smiley face, or not so smiley face. It's currently on the Kickstarter, and there'll be a link for that because they have a demo. And you ask me, how do I know it? It's on fucking Kickstarter, and it says Linux there is 60% chance it won't? Question mark. And the answer is motherfucking Linux demo. Unity-based one, and it worked, you know, the Arch. Well, my distro is even worse. True Leninist will only use source-based distro anyway. Ciao, bambino.
Whatever, summarize that shit, motherfucker. God damn. You know
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's the deal with that. Pedro, number one, pick an accent and stick with it.
Right.
Number two.
No.
Number two, I don't have anything else to add to this because the questions were addressed to you two, so talk.
Hey, man, 87,170. Boop, there we go. 87 grand out of 210. It's got a demo. There's a link. We'll probably throw it in chat right now for the live listeners. I don't know. Maybe you want to play with it. Maybe you don't. I don't do Kickstarter. I mean, it does have a demo, so there's that. Yeah,
I mean, it looks interesting. I'd like some more ARPG stuff on the Linuxes.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it actually comes out and also on the Linux and also not in perpetual early access hell. But you know, what can
hopefully it will be more entertaining than trying to get Diablo to run on Wine.
I mean, by clicking the exe and installing Diablo.
Yeah. Listen, let's just be honest. It doesn't look like this one's going to make it, guys. So, better look next time, or maybe it'll get financed. Who knows? Because on that bombshell, let's cue the music because Jordan's bored and he needs to go do something. If you want to talk to me, I'm Vinstone at Vinstone on the Twitters. You can put that in your face. I'm there. Just Google me. Giggity. Just how does it sound?
I'm Jordan Spung, and I've drank about 2 of these over the course of this recording, so that thing I have to do is urinate. You can watch me doing that at the Burning Fool on Twitter, plus Jordan Spung on Google+.
And there may or may not be a chance that I'm muted right now. This is going to be fun. You can also Google me. Yeah. You can also totally Google me. My Twitter is the very first result when you Google my name nowadays. I don't fucking know why, but it is. So, hey, there's that. At unaccounted for or posted in Mateus on Google+.
All right. What did we learn this week?
Make sure to not step on pressure plates or you're going to have spikes run through your neck.
But you say that like it's a bad thing.
Listen, there is a small subset of our viewing audience that does not like getting skewered through the neck. I'm just thinking about them.
You know, I'm all down for having some more holes to be fucked through, to be honest.
Hey, man. I'm
going to leave that one alone, Pedro.
Good.
I'm sending Nori a text right now and a link to Discount Drills.
Discount Drills. This episode brought to you by DiscountDrills.com. Go buy some Discount Drills.
A wholly owned subsidiary of real fake doors.
Yeah.
I think there was a sale on Makita drills last time I went through one of the shops here. So yeah, get one of them.
The only thing better at boring things than Pedro, a drill.
Elon Musk
into concrete. Oh.
The so-called boring company.
Boring company, man. Hey, man, you.
And they created a personal flamethrower. So boring.
I mean, I did that too with the Super Soaker and some gasoline.
Yeah. I mean, and listen and get shit done. You got to think Elon's a special motherfucker though, because I can't think of anyone else who can walk up to like LA government and be like, yo, earthquakes and shit, fuck it, I want to drill holes under the city. And they're like, okay, why not?
Well, I think his point is that they're going to be deep enough that they're not going to be affected by earthquakes. I guess. I don't fucking know how Hyperloop works, man. I'm not an engineer. 5 dudes.